and kind of have led with it. A lot of companies will do 1 or 2 death matches a year, maybe, and they always draw really well. And we have an amazing depth of deathmatch talent in Australia, but it's always, the icing on the cake, the sizzle on the steak. It's never the steak where, myself and other talent in Australia, and obviously people like Jay and the rest of our management team went, you know what? We've all had almost a year off live wrestling in Australia, obviously with the pandemic and the speaking out movement. So we went, okay, it's time to shit or get off the pot when it comes to deathmatch wrestling. None of us are able to go and do a tour in America or do a tour in Japan anytime soon. So we might as well, make something at home that we're proud of and something that we want to perform for.
Oh, absolutely.
Hey, and
Jake Hurdle, photographer to the stars.
So is deathmatch wrestling going to be purely only death matches on the cards?
No. I believe in the 3-ring circus, or the ice cream flavor analogy. We all like ice cream, unless you're lactose intolerant. I'm sorry. We all like ice cream, but the flavor of ice cream that you like might not be the same flavor of ice cream that I like. But if I can provide something for everybody, then that's what we're going to do. Oh, you're the best. Sorry, my wife bought me a new beer because the beer I poured originally tastes really awful. So we have the best deathmatch wrestlers from all over Australia, but we also have the best heavyweights from all over Australia. Our company is gender neutral, so completely intergender, which is not something you see a lot in Australia. There are a couple of companies up in Sydney who do it quite well. I did see in the opening video some of the people that you've had on the show, peers, are actually going to appear on our events. So a little bit of something for everybody.
Yeah, I think our main focus was being accessible to a lot of people while not being the same as other promotions that are out there as well. And, of course, obviously the deathmatch side of it, which is something that I think is going to set us apart.
And I think clearly, in the name Deathmatch Down Under, that your product is going to be a predominantly adult-themed targeted for adults only. You're not going to be exactly going and doing kids parties or kids shows where it's, this is going to be adult storylines. Do you know what direction and what talent that you guys have and where you see this sort of going from the start and where it can lead to for you guys?
Most definitely. So yes, it's a mature aged event, but it's not like, good evening, Adam. It's not like some of the other over 18 shows in the country where it's just an excuse to drop the C-bomb and put on really vulgar, relatively offensive storylines. Like, the biggest issue that deathmatch wrestling has had in Australia is it's a bait and switch where it'll be advertised as family-friendly entertainment, and then whatever promotion will go out and do something really violent and really cutting edge. But there are kids in the crowd.
Yeah.
A big thing that we've always said, even since before we actually set up the promotion, when we were just talking about it, is setting clear expectations and then delivering on those expectations. So putting deathmatch in the name, no one's coming thinking that they're going to see bubblegum wrestling or, wrestling at your local RSL with the fake Undertaker and everyone's trying to, go to WWE. It's a violent, adult-orientated promotion that's not designed to insult anybody's intelligence. It's not designed to, be so far-fetched that it's outside of the realm of believability. It's very grounded in, the roots of wrestling that I'm a fan of. Like, I'm a massive fan of US independent wrestling. Got to perform there a few years ago. But, I'm a massive Japanese wrestling fan, and that's where I've always drawn my inspiration from. And with a couple of exceptions, everything is very reality-based, very simple, very easy to understand. Even if you don't speak the language, most people can pick up Japanese wrestling pretty quickly. Yeah. The same thing. Like, we're not just targeting a Melbourne audience, and we need our wrestling to be accessible for everybody, not just in Australia, but worldwide.
Yeah. So, I mean, our main thing was when we started this, or even before we were starting this, our main thing was to be as transparent as we could and as upfront with who we are and what we're going to do forward. It's one of our main core parts of who we are. And I think if you're going to buy a ticket for an event called Deathmatch Down Under, for a promotion called Deathmatch Down Under, I think you know what's coming. Yeah. So it's a really good starting point.
But the other side of that, Jay, is something that you've been working on, is what happens if someone isn't aware. of what the content's going to be. Like we have
let's
people
face it,
who
some
are
people can be complete idiots.
that and like violence and gore can be triggering. It can be genuinely triggering, but we do have people who are like mental health first aid trained and kind of mental trauma trained at the shows. I know it's something we can't announce just yet. It's like 99.9% done. But working on some sensory stuff as well for people who, may find it a little bit overwhelming. We have those things in place to take care of those fans because we are putting on such an edgy product and such a, in some realms you could consider it offensive, but such an edgy, such a full-on product that has a lot of violence and blood and guts and gore. We still want to be able to point and go, hey, look, we're actually trying to take care of not only our athletes, but our fans as best we can as well. So it's a safe space for everybody. Not, hey, come watch this show and go home and have fucking nightmares for a month, because that doesn't do anything for anybody.
That doesn't make anyone's time good, and that's what it's all about, is making whoever 100%. Comes to our shows have a really good time because they know what's coming and they go home happy. That's what we intend on delivering.
Oh, absolutely. And do you think do other deathmatch companies or companies that do death matches, are they doing the same thing overseas, like from what your experiences have been, Joel? As far as like the mental health trained nurse and and having the sensory thing, or is it more just like we're putting on the show, that's it?
Well, it's different all over the world, to be honest. But like I said, wrestling all over the world for the most part has been done for 7 months. Like Melbourne's first show back was last weekend, and we hadn't had a show since March. So we've been 9 months in the hole, and